In the era of drone warfare, the holy grail is the swarm, the mass drone swarm. Every country is working towards this, and so is the United States. Lockheed, IBM unveils smart drone swarms to adapt and evolve in live battle zones. This allows for rapid, secure software updates directly to drones operating at the edge of contested environments without returning to base. So you let them out, and they go do their dirty work. This is a little bit from the article. The result is a living, evolving swarm that can upgrade itself mid-mission to counter new threats. The drones being used in the program include the Indego 4 uncrewed aerial systems, a tactical quadcopter developed by Lockheed Martin Skunk Works. Equipped with a 360-degree surveillance capabilities, the Indego 4 is now enhanced with onboard AI and machine learning. These technologies allow swarms to execute multi-step missions, reassign tasks mid-flight, and dynamically respond to unknown situations. Swarm tactics under the system focus on maximizing efficiency and adaptability through coordinated operations. One key aspect is the coordinated area search, where drones fly across a wide terrain. By sharing live intelligence amongst themselves, they significantly reduce search time, allowing for quicker response and resource allocation. Another important tactic is dynamic retasking. The swarm is designed to adjust accordingly if a drone is lost or encounters a new threat. This involves redistributing tasks among the remaining units, ensuring mission continuity and maintaining operational effectiveness despite challenges. And this is the Indego 4 from Lockheed Martin. This is the quadcopter featured in this story, and it has its specifications right here. It has a 10-kilometer range, 5-pound maximum payload. This is just one of the systems used by the U.S. This is clearly the one under development by Lockheed Martin and IBM. The U.S. Army has also begun embracing drones, and so has the Marine Corps. Army and Marine embrace kamikaze drone for ground combat. Scrolling down, a spring article from the Marine Corps Warfighting Laboratories features Directorate outlined the process. The Joint FPV Working Group, led by the lab, went through to find offensive drones suitable for U.S. infantry formations. One of the drones group was able to get approved for government was the Neros Archer FPV, an attack drone the U.S. has already sent to Ukraine by the thousands to support the country's defensive fight. These same systems can be converted into loitering munitions, Forbes reported. The Marine Corps is also charging ahead with an initiative that calls Organic Precision Fires Light, describes in solicitations as a system designed to provide rifle squads and platoons with a man-packable organic loitering precision strike capability to engage the enemy beyond the line of sight. Teledyne FLIR Defense received a contract in 2024 worth $249 million for a vertical takeoff and lift loitering munition as part of the Organic Precision Fires Light initiative. The Army, which also contracted last year to buy switchblades and dismounted infantry units, released a call for solutions on the government's contracting website this month, announcing it was looking to quickly prototype what it calls low-altitude stalking and striking ordnance, or LASSO. Army budget documents call for more than $120 million to procure the yet-to-be-selected LASSO systems. This is the Marine Corps. This is when they stood up their drone corps. There was an article that I did a video about this here on this channel when I first saw it. This is April 4th. Marine Corps stands up attack drone team to take lessons from Ukraine and teach them to the grunts. Scrolling down. How do you train Marine that way? Cuomo said. What are the tasks? What are the conditions, the environments that you're training the Marine in? What are the standards they have to meet? So that's all what we're working on right now, every single day. As we're speaking, Marines are working through that. Starting in fiscal year 2026, the attack drone team will take part in Marine Corps marksmanship competitions to teach other Marines new ways of use FPVs, said Major Hector Infante, a spokesman for Training and Education Command. The attack drone team will also take part in U.S. and international competitions involving small drones and FPVs and share what they learn with the rest of the Corps. All the Marines who take part in the attack drone are volunteers, with some coming from the Weapons Training Battalion. Additional Marines will be able to join the team with the start of the fiscal year 2026 marksmanship competition season. Marine Corps officials have yet to determine if the attack drone team will be involved in helping to field FPV drone Marine units. I think it's pretty clear they will. And the drones that they've been using for this training are these. U.S. startup to deliver 6,000 FPV attack drones to Ukraine. Neros, an autonomous drone startup founded just a year ago, has secured a contract to deliver over 6,000 FPV drones to Ukraine over the next 6 months. And as we went through these articles, we found that Neros is one of the prime contractors. Now, 6,000 drones a month, that's a lot of drones. That is a lot of drones. I'm going to show you something now. China can already produce 500,000 FPV drones monthly and up to 700,000 in wartime. The People's Liberation Army has conducted 3 large-scale military exercises using the power of drone swarms, which was a key topic of discussion between U.S., foreign partners, and American officials at a forum in Singapore last week. I just want to show you this, and I want you to hear this. 500,000 FPV drones a month. A month. Now, granted, those are obviously not all for People's Liberation Army use, but the fact that they can produce that many is quite frightening. And drones, like I said, the holy grail of drone use is the super swarm. 500,000 would make a great basis for a super swarm. Now, I'm going to have a couple quick video shots here. This is from Lieutenant Colonel John Antel, retired U.S. Army. He is sounding the alarm of drones in the modern age like nobody else. And hopefully he is not the Cassandra of our modern age when it comes to FPV drones.
The next is fully autonomous. More and more weapon systems will move to full autonomy. Fully autonomous means that you cannot be jammed easily. Computer vision is part of that. You don't need GPS, but you add the artificial intelligence to the system so that it can attack targets according to its parameters that you gave it. So if you say, I want you to destroy artillery first, or air defense first, and then artillery, and then armor, the system will do that because the artificial intelligence is trained to do that. The next is super swarm. Now, language is important. Definitions are important. Socrates said, you always got to have a quote from Socrates. Socrates said that all understanding starts with definition. All understanding starts with definition. How many times have you gone to a project or tried to do something and the idea was not defined, and you were working on something and someone else was working on something else, and you thought you were working on the same thing, but it wasn't? So start off with defining the issue. All understanding starts with definition. So super swarm is very important. Right now, we have drones that work in groups, in gaggles, in packs, in swarms. Okay, maybe. Swarming is a tactic. Swarming is a tactic where you hit the enemy from multiple directions simultaneously if possible, or at least in real time as rapidly as you can. Any of you ever heard of George Armstrong Custer and the Gallant 7 Cavalry? Maybe. Okay. They got swarmed at a place called the Little Bighorn by the Sioux and a bunch of other Indians. You don't want to be Custer. You do not want to be swarmed, but that's a tactic. A super swarm is different, and this is where we're moving. A super swarm is where you have a cloud of robotic systems. They can be ground and air. They can be also other systems that are not necessarily like small UAS and drones. They could be missiles with communications in them and precision guided systems that attack where you want. But you have a cloud of these, and they move from point A to point B to point C, and they destroy, according to their targeting parameters, everything underneath them. And they're operated by one human. That one human turns them on and directs them, and may turn them off. And they expend themselves until they're gone. Now, that is the ultimate breakthrough weapon for right now. Chinese are working on it. And every time you see one of those beautiful New Year's Eve or 4th of July, a small UAS, dragons in the sky. Why is it always dragons? It worries me. In the sky, you see that. Why is all that happening? That's part of what this is, although that's not yet a super swarm, but it is the beginning. It is the nascent beginning of how that works. So the super swarm will change warfare dramatically, and the first nation that is able to employ it, particularly with surprise in a first strike, would have a tremendous advantage, because after it's used, there are ways to knock things out. There's action, counteraction, but nonetheless, think about this. The first time tanks were used, they had a great effect, but nobody was ready to follow up. First time gas was used on the battlefield in World War I, they were able to have a great effect, but no one was ready for the success that they delivered, so they didn't know how to follow up.
People will know how to follow up following the drone swarm. The tactics are being practiced right now. They're being practiced right now as we speak. So a little bit more from this presentation.
Artillery fire and drone strikes. Russia can make 100 tanks a month, thus allowing it to maintain its offensive efforts at the same level despite suffering heavy losses.
Think about the cost of a tank versus the cost of an FPV drone. So what kind of drones do we have out there right now in war? We have ISR drones, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, needed because you must see the enemy and you take videos of all these other things. This helps with the transparent battle space. The next, you have bomber drones. These are drones that drop grenades on people, on positions. When a tank crew gets hit by a first-person view drone, particularly a Russian tank in Ukraine, what is the first thing if the Russian crew is still alive? What do? Exactly right. They abandon tank. They get out of that tank as fast as possible. Do you think they close the hatch when they leave? No, they don't close the hatch. They run. Everybody goes as fast as you can. So the troops are gone. The crew is gone, if there's any that left, that any survived. But then that tank is sitting out there, and maybe it's smoldering, but it's not destroyed. And if you recover a tank, you can fix it. But you take an FPV bomber drone and you go right over the top of it and you drop that grenade right into the hatch, and it sets off all the ammunition inside, and that tank cannot be fixed after that. You clean up the battlefield with these things. Absolutely amazing tactic. The next is the first-person view drone. One of the most accurate killers right now in Ukraine is the first-person view drone. Why? Because the first-person view drone is controlled by a human mind. One mind, one drone. The next are loiter munitions. Very important. They will become absolutely decisive, and the better they get, the more decisive they'll become. They can hover over an area for a long period of time and give you a saturation over time so that the enemy is denied those areas. The next is unmanned combat aerial vehicles of all types, UCAVs. You may remember back in the Second Nagorno-Karabakh War, and even the beginning of the Ukrainian invasion, about the Bayraktar TB2. A very effective Turkish drone that was not that expensive, that flew but had missiles on its wings. So it's a robotic airplane that shoots missiles. And this was very effective because it was able to get far deep into enemy territory and then shoot those missiles very accurately. So we have many different types of drones. Now, the democratization of these drones, in other words, the fact that anybody can get them now, including terrorists and assassins, cheap and attritable, changes almost everything, and it changes warfare. If we think it doesn't, we are not thinking. We are not looking at what's happening in the world and at war right now. And what that takes, for instance, like with an FPV drone or a bomber drone like this illustration shows, is goggles, the ability to control it. One guy is controlling it, so he is the mind of the drone, and the other guy is looking at the overall situation on a tablet, and he may, in addition, have a drone sensor. How many of you here ever heard of the Sukhorok? Okay, you all need to know about it, and you all need to get one. I'll talk about it a little bit later.
Sukhorok is a vital piece of kit that I will specifically cite at the end of this video that all American forces need to have. All.
Now, this is Darwin. Darwin is one of the best drone operators in the Ukrainian army. Okay, he's in Aerozvidka, which is the Ukrainian drone corps. Now, the Ukrainians were very smart in creating a drone corps because no matter what anyone tells you, millennials or others cannot pick up a drone and operate it perfectly immediately. It takes training. Imagine the training it takes to operate a drone at night in smoke, through a forest, in a built-up area, while the enemy's trying to jam you and they're shooting at you. Now, Darwin, he comes to work around 1700, 5 p.m., gets into a bunker. He has 60 drones that his team will put out for him one at a time. And out of those 60 drones, he might get 16 to 20 hits, and the rest are wasted. The rest are lost. Now, we don't see a lot of the videos of the drones that fail. That's not a good video. They only show you the videos of the ones that succeed. But this guy gets 16 to 20 hits a night.
Плюс. Мій позивний Дарин.
In Ukraine's struggle for survival emerges a new species of soldier, part human, part killer drone. His body is in a concrete bunker, but his mind, thanks to those goggles, is flying free, searching for something to destroy.
Ну, ти дійсно почуваєш себе так, в кінці взривається. Ну, це ж просто неймовірно.
So, very effective. Imagine the cost of the ROI of a first-person view drone against 16 tanks. Now, a year ago, the Ukrainians said they were using 10,000 drones a month. That means they were expending 10,000 small UAS a month. How many drone operators does that mean? Not 10,000, but a lot. How many drone operators do we have in the US military? How many drone operators do we have in the UK military? In units, in infantry battalions, in infantry brigades, in armored brigades? Think about that. Not enough? Hardly any, which is the sad part. Now, today, it's $50K per month.
50,000 drones a month. 50,000 drones expended. That's not hits, that's just expended, hitting trees, power lines, buildings, the ground, running out of power, technical malfunctions, and of course the ones that strike their targets. So again, I want to cite this. China can produce 500,000 FPV drones monthly and up to 700,000 in wartime. U.S. startup to deliver 6,000 FPV drones over 6 months. I'm glad we're coming up with this AI drone swarm. I'm glad we're training the troops on how to use it. But we are very far behind in the manufacturability of these. This is a major problem, but it is not unsolvable. It is not unsolvable. I want to highlight just one or two more things in this video before the end.
You need to read this. This 25-year-old Timothy Orel was given the Hero of Ukraine Award just recently. He has killed 434 Russian soldiers. 346 were wounded. 42 tanks. 44 BMPs, those are infantry fighting vehicles. 10 MTLBs, those are APCs. And 28 BTR APCs. One guy with first-person view drones. If we had an Apache crew that did this, they would be making movies about them. Think about the ROI here. This guy has a tremendous effect on the battle space. He is a trained killer. And it took a lot of training to get him to be able to do this effectively. War is changing dramatically. So drones are the machine gun of the 21st century. They claim the tactical high ground. Just as high ground is always important, now you have the high ground that is in the air. And they also act as aerial cavalry, reconnaissance, and also being able to do delaying actions and attack, and flying artillery. They hold the power to decide between survival and annihilation in the modern battlefield.
They are the tactical high ground. Just as the colonel said, they are the tactical high ground. Now, real quick, I told you I wanted to talk about the Sukhorok device. This is a very important device, and he's going to explain why, and all American forces should be equipped with this. All American forces should be equipped with this.
So you saw in that picture, one of the soldiers of that team had a Sukhorok. This is a very inexpensive device. It is a passive receiver that is set to drone frequencies. and it warns you with a audio alert that drones are overhead. Why don't all of our soldiers have these? Why don't we have these with some of our systems? If you're going to deploy drones, you are in fact the biggest target for the enemy because they want to hunt you down and kill you before you launch your drones. You should have something like this. Now, this is just one device. The Ukrainians made it. It doesn't cost a lot. It's passive.
All American soldiers should have one. All American soldiers should have one as their kit, as their standard kit. As he said, if you are operating drones, you are being hunted by drones. Drone operators in Ukraine have been treated the same way that snipers have traditionally been treated when captured. There are no prisoners taken. You're not going to see any drone operator prisoners, just like you don't see sniper prisoners. It becomes very personal to the folks on the ground. Understandably so. I know this is long, but I can't stress enough the importance of the drone on the modern battlefield. And when you see a story, such as the lead story in this video today, that IBM and Lockheed are unveiling smart drone swarms to adapt and evolve in live battle zones, and knowing what we should be, knowing what I know and knowing what we should know and knowing what the military knows, this is breakthrough stuff. This is cutting edge. This is game changing. That's all I got for this video. Everything in it will be in the description. I encourage you to watch Colonel Antel's presentation. That the I'm just going to end with this is going to be my end picture. Drones and loitering munitions, machine gun of the 21st century. I encourage everyone to go to the Colonel's channel, subscribe to his channel, check out his videos about the Nagorno-Karabakh War, his videos about drone warfare in general in the 21st century. It's my hope that he is not a Cassandra. Cassandra being the person who sounded the alarm but was forced to live with witnessing it. Let's give him some subscriptions, some likes. Watch all his videos. He's very insightful. For me, that's all I got. Hit the like, subscribe, share with a friend, let him know the modern battlefield is changing. The U.S. is putting AI into the drone swarms, and the drone is the machine gun of the 21st century. Thank you. I appreciate you.